Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, Sir Andri. My name is Rayyan Galih Indarto, and my student ID number is 2452324. And this is the fourth video that I make, and also the last video. So in this video, I will talk about Module 6. In the Module 6, there's quite a lot of main topics that we will talk about. So the first one, we will talk about polite phrasings. And the second one is talk about even if and even though. And the third one, it's we talk about the past perfect and the past simple tense. Then the past simple. Let's get started on the first one. Mm. Hi GP.
Hey Rayon, I'm here. What can I help you with this time?
So I want to have a conversation with you, and we would like to talk about uh Module 6. It's have a lot of points, but in the first place, we'll talk about polite phrasings. Can you give me some questions like the definition of polite phrasings and the examples of it?
Absolutely. So to get us started, could you explain what price fixing is, what the definition is, and why it's considered illegal in most markets? And then if you can, I'd love an example of a real-world case of price fixing.
Okay, so we use polite phrasing when we want to say some specific words and we want to have a respectful tones and less directly to some persons. So we not being too rude when we say that sentence. Like for an examples, rather than we say send me the Next.js project files, we can use polite phrasing to convert the sentence into could you send me the Next.js project files when you have a moment?
Exactly. That's a great explanation. So a follow-up question, why do you think polite phrasing is especially important in professional or multicultural tech environments? And can you give another example where a small shift in wording might help?
So I think the most important part when we're using the uh, polite phrasing is when we talk to our senior or to our teachers and our older friends that we really high respectful to them, and we want to be uh, as polite as possible in front of them.
Exactly. Yeah, and that small shift in language really helps maintain a professional and respectful atmosphere. So, could you give another example, maybe when you're asking for a deadline or feedback, and show how you would soften it?
Okay, for a deadline or feedback, I would say like, could you give me a deadline time or a feedback for my proposal?
Exactly. That's a perfect example. By using could you, it feels more like a polite request, so the other person feels more comfortable and willing to respond.
Okay, let's jump into the next topics. We will talk about even if and even though.
Sounds good. So, let's start with a question. Can you explain the difference between even if and even though? And then give me an example of each in a tech or everyday context.
Sure. But for the simple definitions, even though we using even though when we'll talk about reality or establish a fact and something that has already happened, and rather than even if we using it for imagination or hypothetical, like we saying about hypothetical conditions like uh, for the example, like even I study all night, I will probably fail the exams. Like it haven't getting started yet, but we imagine it that we will fail the exam tomorrow.
Yes, that's exactly right. And for an example with even though, you could say something like, even though the server was updated last night, we still encountered some bugs today. So it's about something real that happened, while even if is more hypothetical.
Okay, thanks for that feedback. I really appreciate that. And let's jump to the last topics. We'll talk about the usage of the past perfect and past simples.
Of course. So let's start with a question. Can you explain the difference between past perfect and past simple? And then maybe give an example of when you'd use each one in a sequence of events?
Sure. So the definition of past simples is we use it like the main event. We use past simples to talk about a completed task or an action that already happened at a specific time in the past, and it is over and we already done it. But for the past perfect, we use it for the past of the past. It's quite confusing actually, like we use the past perfect to talk about an action that happened before another action in the past. Like uh two events before some things like that. For the examples on the past simples, like she woke up at 7 a.m. And the examples for the past perfects, like I had finished my homework.
Yes, exactly. That's a great breakdown. So another example might be by the time the meeting started, I had already sent the report. That shows one action sending the report happened before another past action. Nicely explained.
Okay, thank you so much for all of the feedbacks, GP.
You're very welcome, Rhea. I'm really glad I could help. If anything else comes up or you need more practice, just let me know.
Okay.